Hey, and welcome back to another episode of the Girl Boss Method podcast with myself, Rishi Bra. So tonight's podcast episode is again one that's been requested by the girls inside the Girl Boss Method. And today is all about gut health. So I thought this would be a really interesting topic to kind of like start almost as like an introduction. So we'll take you through, a couple of different things and some examples as well, and some of the things that people may experience. Okay, so firstly, gut health plays a crucial role in overall well-being, influencing everything from digestion to immunity, believe it or not. So quite often people don't really think about immunity when it comes to gut health, but it's obviously very important still. For women like us in our 30s and 40s, maintaining a healthy gut can significantly aid in managing our body fat, boosting our energy levels, and improving our fitness outcomes. So understanding gut health. So firstly, the gut is often referred to as the second brain. It houses trillions of bacteria that impact digestion, metabolism, and even mood. A balanced gut microbiome is essential for optimal health. So the gut microbiome consists of beneficial and harmful bacteria. A balanced gut supports digestion, nutrient absorption, and immune function. An imbalance can lead to issues like bloating, weight gain, and inflammation. And so if you are somebody that's experiencing some of these symptoms, then again, it's really important to understand, what's going on with your gut, and what sort of things can we do as well to help manage things as well. So the role of diet in gut health. So fiber-rich foods, again, fiber is crucial for feeding beneficial gut bacteria. And there are actually two types of fiber. So I don't know if you know this, but we have soluble fiber. This is fiber that dissolves in water to form a gel-like substance, and it helps lower your blood cholesterol and glucose levels. So examples of things like this can be oats, peas, beans, apples, citrus fruits, carrots, and barley. And then when we're thinking about insoluble fiber, this promotes the movement of material throughout your digestive system, and then also increases stool bulk, helping with things like constipation, etc. And then when we're thinking of examples of insoluble fiber, we're thinking about things like whole wheat flour, wheat bran, nuts, beans, cauliflower, green beans, and potatoes. So hopefully that kind of like helps you in terms of like where we're starting. Gut isn't just this thing that's all about just, or diet, should we say, isn't all just about calories, macronutrients, and that's it. Obviously that's very important to obviously when we're thinking about things like energy expenditure, energy requirements, we're thinking about composition as well, changing composition, body composition. We also need to think about things like fiber. So especially when we're thinking about like bloating and stuff like that, which again, many of us can experience from time to time. But I find that especially things like when we're thinking about diet types that people are drawn to, when we're thinking about things like keto or even the carnivore diet, how much fiber is present in those diet types, and what is the impact of eating a certain way long term. So it's really important that we do include things like, or we consider things like fiber. And, along with that as well, when people are thinking about carbs and they want to cut carbs and stuff, like carbohydrates are really important. And, this is where the carbohydrate foods typically are going to contain the fiber that we require. So when we are thinking about fiber type, we're averagely thinking about sort of recommended allowances of about 25 grams per day. So yeah, again, important stuff to think about. And then obviously you may have heard these sort of fancy terms being thrown about, but probiotics and prebiotics. So probiotics are actually live bacteria that provide health benefits. And again, way that we can do this is, yes, you can take supplements and stuff, but just even doing things as simple as incorporating fermented foods within your diet. So things like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi. And also tempeh. Tempeh is also a wonderful sort of probiotic food as well. And then you've got prebiotics as well. And these are typically non-digestible fibers that promote the growth of beneficial bacteria. And this is going to be things like garlic, onions, bananas, and asparagus. These are great sources. And then obviously, yes, you can do things like supplement and stuff. But what I would say with that is always opt for looking at your diet first, and then we can consider or think about, supplements if needed thereafter. Massively important, hydration. So the amount of people that or ladies that I've spoken to and they've got things like digestive issues and stuff, and then you actually pick apart what they're doing in terms of their nutrition and most importantly their hydration. They're not getting adequate water, they're not drinking enough water. They might get enough fluid in, but ideally you want to try and get water in. That's essential for maintaining that healthy gut lining and helping with your digestion. So you want to again aim for at least 8 glasses of water a day. And then healthy fats. This is massively important. So healthy fats are obviously things like avocados, olive oil, fatty fish, and these are going to help support the gut health by reducing inflammation. And it's good that we're talking about foods to avoid as well, because when we're thinking about processed foods, yes, they can be high in unhealthy fats, sugars, additives, disrupt your gut balance. I know that with processed foods, and typically things like takeaways or some ethnic foods that are cooked in a lot of fat, when you start to eat a little bit more healthful, you'll probably notice it a bit more, that when you do deviate and you indulge or overindulge in some of these processed foods, that they really do disrupt that gut balance. So it's just something that I know that on a personal level, when I've had more oily foods, people don't often think about this, but if it's been quite ethnic foods like samosas and stuff like that, or pakoras, and I have then found that the oil content is obviously quite high. And it's not to say that we can't have this stuff, but it's just be mindful in terms of how much you're having as well. These sort of things can play a part as well, especially when you're thinking about that bloating and stuff. I tend to get bloated after having processed foods, and I'm sure you do as well. And then, yes, sugar and artificial sweeteners. These can promote the growth of harmful bacteria and yeast. So if your diet is heavily, based around, lots of sweet things or sugar and stuff like that, then you are going to have a growth of harmful bacteria and yeast. And again, you might experience that bloatiness. And this is the thing with sugar. It's not to say that we cannot have any. I think everything, time and time again, when we're thinking about diet, we're thinking about nutrition, we're thinking about healthful, we want to mainly focus on healthful options. And then, yes, we want to enjoy, a little bit of what most people deem as the bad. You don't want to food exclusion. We want to just think about having this stuff in moderation, because obviously we don't want to feed, some harmful, or annoying effects, should we say, as well. But there's nothing wrong with sugar. I will do a topic actually all on sugar. That will be good fun. So we'll watch out for that one. We'll do a training on that soon. And then goes without saying, excessive alcohol consumption. Alcohol damages your gut lining and alters the microbiome. So again, it's something that's creating that disrupt in the balance, in the gut balance there. But alcohol as well, moderation. It's there to enjoy from time to time, but it's also, if you've ever been on like a mad binge or something, or you've consumed an excessive amount, with alcohol, there's not really any benefits. That's the thing. Like something like sugar, you can use, like you can utilize that energy. It's energy, but something like alcohol, unfortunately, it's more for a good time than it is for a healthful time or an energy source in that sense. And it makes us make very poor choices as well. Enough on that. Not to say that we can't have any, but just think about moderation. And ladies, as we get older as well, you'll find that your tolerance is just not what it was before. So now we're going to talk about some lifestyle tips for maintaining that healthy gut. Woohoo! Exercise. Regular exercise. So physical activity helps maintain a healthy gut and microbiome. So you want to aim for at least 30 minutes of moderate exercise most days. And again, when we're thinking about exercise and it's moderate, that could be, yes, whether it's your gym session or whether it's like a more cardio-based session. So if it's something like Zumba or boxing, or if it's not a day for planned exercise, it could be a day for getting out and getting some walking in. We all need to get our step count up, especially if we are habitually working from our desks, especially working from home. There's not, much or any of a commute. Then yeah, it's really important to make sure that you are moving, and that's going to help as well. Stress management. So again, with the whole thing of your gut being your second brain and stuff as well, chronic stress can negatively impact your gut health. So we want to try and practice some relaxation techniques. Again, you can do things like yoga, meditation, deep breathing exercises. Even walking can form a part of this. Getting out into nature and just being around pleasant things or even pleasant people can really help reduce that stress. Ensuring that, you try and keep work and life very separate. It's very difficult. It's difficult me saying this because work and life seem to blend, which is fine. But it's just, again, you've got to create some barriers. If you are a business owner like myself, or you work for yourself, or you've got a high up position, and it does require you to have a lot of time on the phone, make sure that you've also got that time away from your phone. So it's really important, because telephones, social media, doom scrolling on Instagram, making us feel unhappy about ourselves, all of these sorts of things can affect, the way that we manage stress. And sleep. Sleep is the center of the universe. Sleep is the key to the universe. It's like everything. Once sleep happens and we get into a good rhythm and we sleep well and we get restful hours, everything else seems to fall into place. So you feel happier when you've had good sleep. You feel more energized. You're able to work better. Your hunger is better managed as well with adequate sleep. Your want and your, need or performance in exercise as well is vastly improved. So poor sleep can actually disrupt your gut microbiome. And it's really important that you aim for those 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep per night. And when we're thinking about sleep, it's not it's 10 o'clock, I'll go up to bed now. 10 o'clock soon becomes 11 o'clock by the time you pull the blinds down, you turn the lights off, you lock the doors, you get in and do your night routine. Sleep does not happen when you think about sleep. Sleep happens. And when we're thinking about sleep, it's that sleep, the whole point of shutting your eyes and zoning out and being asleep. So you need to also make sure that you allow opportunity for sleep. And I've talked about this before, but sleep opportunity is very different to sleep itself. So try and factor in some of that stuff as well. And I know it's difficult. No phones before bed, that sort of thing. All of those things. It's the same stuff again and again. Mindful eating. Wow, mindful eating. So eat slowly and chew thoroughly to aid your digestion. Avoid eating in stressful environments. So again, eating at your desk, eating in a rush, eating in front of the telly, eating whilst having a serious conversation. I know it's not easy to practice all of this stuff, but be mindful of it and try and allow yourself opportunities where you can actually sit, savor, enjoy your food. You're actually going to make yourself feel fuller just by chewing. I actually did this, as I think we all did weird things in lockdown. But in lockdown, I challenged myself to try and do, I don't know, whether it was a day or a couple of days of trying to really chew each mouthful. I was eating slowly. I was chewing like 32 times, doing the whole mastication thing. My goodness, the enzymes that are released, the hormones that are triggered, you really start to understand fullness as well. Because quite often when you eat very quickly, you've eaten, you haven't had a chance for those things to kick in, those hormones, ghrelin and leptin, they have not come in and done their job. So just to kind of recap, if it's been a while or you haven't watched some of the other chats on this, ghrelin also sounds a bit like gremlin. Ghrelin is that thing that's going to make those hunger pangs. It's going to make you feel very, very hungry. And leptin is that thing that makes you feel satiated. So we want to try and practice some mindful eating to try and trigger, those more fullness associated hormones. That's kind of it in terms of an introduction on this topic. Again, we know that there are medications, supplements, and there are other things that we can do. Like we talked a little bit about the probiotics and the prebiotics. Try and think food first. Think about your fiber as well. If you're eating carbs, you're likely to be getting your fiber in. If you're eating, vegetables and stuff like that as well, you're likely to be getting that in. And then again, when we're thinking about making this more sustainable and long-term, think about consistency. You can't tick every box all at once. So just focus on those sustainable changes rather than opting for, let me try and do everything in a day, because that consistency and those building blocks and building on that, each on week, month on month is going to help. Again, when we're thinking about some of those like behavioral changes, so snacking out of boredom, eating in front of the telly, stuff like that, those are the sort of things that are not going to help you long term. And this sort of stuff does really play a part in terms of the bloating and stuff like that you might experience. If you're eating things fast, if you're not eating things mindfully, if we're not thinking about having that whole full diet as well. And And that's the thing, you know, when we're thinking about like weight gain that is sometimes associated with gut issues, you know, the bloating could be part of you know, excess gas production. You could have sort of undigested food in there that could be producing that bloating and that discomfort. And again, this is sort of stuff that this is beyond any of the I need to go and get myself tested to see if I need to do a few food exclusion. This is beyond any of that. This is like first action. Really think about the simple stuff. Those are the things that are going to help you. We want to try and make sure that we're, you know, managing stress, chewing our food properly. Yeah, and again, you know, if there are issues with hormonal responses that are triggering or not triggering to help that increased appetite and not helping reduce those fullnesses, those feelings of fullness, etc. If those are not sort of, you know, if those are not firing correctly, then those are the things that unfortunately will contribute to weight gain, because, you know, we're going to be feeling more hungry and not really understanding when we're full. And, you know, this is again where hydration and stuff really comes in. So you could say I'm like maybe going slightly off topic here, but yeah, tracking really helps, because then it also helps us understand what you've got going on in your diary. Hitting the macros as well. We know that we're satisfying our protein needs, carbs, fats, fiber. We're getting that water in. Make sure, again, that reminder, make sure you're doing your weekly check-ins as well. But yeah, thank you. That's all enough. That's all on this topic for today. But if you've got any questions, just be sure to, you know, let's ask away. Let's trigger a conversation in the group, or you can DM me if you feel like it's a little bit more sensitive or private. And for those of you that have stumbled across this podcast, this has been the Girl Boss Method. My name is Rishu Bra, and you can find me on Instagram by finding my name. You'll find the spelling, etc., in the comments below. But yeah, that's all for me, and we'll see you here next time.